Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The arguments begin now.
Here we are. Good evening, Dale.
Good evening. How are you?
Oh, not doing too bad for an old man. An old man Democrat. How are you, you young Republican?
Well, I accomplished some things today, and feel good about it.
That's good. I got a couple things done too. I ordered some. Where the hell did it go? Where'd my stuff go? My Amazon stuff. Oh, I'll show you this. It's pretty cool. Hello? Is there anybody over there? Just not if you can hear me. Flora, where's my stuff? My Amazon stuff. Where'd that Amazon stuff go? Oh, he's not even paying. I could tell her the house was on fire and she wouldn't pay no attention to me. I'll bite you, all right. One tells me that she's down here for the drama. The other one pays no attention to me whatsoever. Look at that. You know what that is?
That's paracord.
That's glow-in-the-dark paracord. You can turn the light out and see it in the dark. That's pretty cool stuff.
I know, but what I'm trying to catch is you buying it so nobody runs over it when you're mowing the grass.
Yeah,
but
well, it may.
You shouldn't be mowing the grass in the dark. But I get you. I'm just being funny.
I just don't want my. I got a pretty decent mower guy now. I don't want him to get ticked off in the foot because there's too many.
You got somebody coming.
You know, we got.
Right.
And what I got on the other ends of these, I've got carbiners on each side of them, so it's just a quick unclip and.
Why aren't y'all just burying the wire?
It's not, that's not wire, it's paracord. It's to hold the antenna up. It's guy wires for the antenna.
Okay. And you were telling me it's like 3 feet off the ground.
Well,
right?
It guys off at
approximately.
It guys off at about 4 feet.
Okay.
And there's 3 ropes on it, and one goes one direction, and then it kind of makes a triangle to hold it up.
And you actually had people dumb enough to drive through that.
If you if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't see the black paracord. That's why I decided to go with the yellow.
Okay, I got you.
You know, sighted or very, not needing bifocals or not, you'd still run the thing over. And I don't want that to happen, so.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and it'll be good for another thing we do, which is field day. I can redo I've got paracord on a couple other things we use for that, and it's all going to convert it over to this yellow. It really is easier to see. Anyway, what do you got in mind for tonight?
Well, I thought we'd obviously do a post-election kind of show and give our the thoughts and what's and whys and different things like that. So that's my kind of main issue to get into. You did mention the politicians that, or lack thereof, that Trump is looking to put in his cabinet, and also speaking about oh Lord, let me think for a minute.
We were going to talk about the Tyson fight too.
Yes, Tyson fight,
and then
and that's one I think we're probably gonna come pretty clear on, but hey, whatever.
And then diversity.
We're not here to necessarily always disagree.
Well, most of the time, that's why
it happens. When you have an argument, sometimes you agree.
That's why the word argument's on the show.
That's right. Sometimes you agree.
And then
we maybe agree on some of this other shit.
There are another thing that was we talked about pre-show, which was divisiveness between your friends.
Absolutely.
Now that the election's over with.
Absolutely.
And I think we'll cover that about midway through. What do you want to pick first? The election itself?
Yeah, I think we probably ought to just, open the air, get that out of the way, and, move on. That's my thing. Let's get this out and then move on from there. And,
All right, as far as, why don't you give the Republican side first? What did you think as a Republican about your president?
Well,
or your president's
I think
election?
The vote showed that not only did he win the whatchamacallit.
I wonder how many extra ballots they had this time.
Yeah, okay. Now we're gonna get into all that. But he won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College, and by a very big landslide. Now, this is something I just heard today. Now, I did not have the opportunity to look this up in order to show that it's true, false, or anything in between. But basically, the states that Kamala actually won were the states that don't require an ID to be present before somebody votes.
Here we go.
Now,
that's about I want to cover that about as much as you want to cover the.
That's the
fake,
only
the fake ballots.
So, it's. I think overwhelmingly, the people of the United States chose Donald Trump to be their president. I think a lot of you and others were planning on abortion to be the biggest thing that was.
Well, it wasn't just the abortion thing.
And with women being the larger part of the population, at the end of the day, and we spoke about it earlier, it did come down to, as what they like to say, the economy's stupid, because if you can't afford to buy groceries for yourself, how are you going to afford to be able to go out and get an abortion? So, you have to solve A before you can even go to B.
Well, it wasn't just the abortion thing, though, Dale. It was, it was the women's rights thing. It wasn't just about abortion.
Nobody took women's rights away from them.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking. And we'll see after the 29th of...
All Donald Trump did, and everybody blames him for this whole thing, is he said, you know what? And everybody says the federal government needs to stay out of their business. So he said, okay. And it went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, we're going to take this out of the federal government's hands. We're going to hand it over to the states. And we're going to allow them to make choices upon how the people of the state vote to control it. Like I have here, I live in Ohio, and a couple of the people that I'm going to speak of later are big on the whole abortion rights. Ohio has some of the most liberal abortion rights that are in the whole country, but yet we're just drumming up this, beating the drum and making all this big noise about whatever. If you want to get an abortion in Ohio, you can go get one. It's not an issue. It really is not an issue. And that's what people were seeing. And as you said, they voted, it's the economy, stupid. Because if I can't buy groceries, I can't get a gallon of gas.
Well, that's where I think it, to be honest about it, that's what I think it all came down to. It didn't matter. People had made up their mind, Christ, back in late August, early September. People had already made their minds up. And it didn't matter who they were going to run or whatever, that was going to turn out like this.
Well,
if
you see the amount of votes that Trump took out of the Democrats' hands, then you might kind of look at it a little bit differently. Because you had people that were concerned about different things, which brings up the economy.
Yeah, I think
what I did, I watched a very democratic TV channel. Was
did you have a towel over your eyes?
ABC. I actually watched ABC. Everybody's like, how come you didn't watch this? How come you didn't watch that? ABC, I thought, had the best breakdown and coverage that they were showing.
Did you sanitize the remote after you put it on that channel?
No, I did not. No, I did not. I didn't need to sanitize it. But what they were doing was they not only went into a state, they broke it down by county. And then what they were doing was, if you need to win a certain state, then you need to get this percentage of votes from each and every county. So they went into Democratic strongholds. Okay. Like as far as Pennsylvania, they were going into the Pittsburgh area. And very Democratic. And they were like, you need to get the Democrat, Kamala Harris needs to get this much of the vote, and Trump needs to get this much of the vote. Well, what was ended up happening is, and mind you, by the way they're doing this, they're trying, that is, at the end of the day, they end up 50-50. Okay. So they say, well, Kamala needs 83% in this county. And, well, instead of getting 83, yes, she wins that county and she wins that area. But instead of getting 83, she's getting 82 or 80 or 81. And that was happening all over the country. She may win the Democratic strongholds, but the percentage rate was not enough to overtake.
Well, as far as
so if you do that and you compound that, and it was shown almost all across the country, if she needed 70% here, she got 68. If she needed 65 here, she got 62. if she needed, Trump was gaining votes out of her pocketbook, and of course, you end up with what you ended up with. And that was Trump winning by a freaking landslide. And everybody thinks he is the most horrible man in the world.
Well,
If he was, why in the hell did the American people vote for this guy?
That's what I'd like to know.
Well,
But
because you're
I'm going to tell you why. They didn't vote for the guy. I'm going to tell you that right now. They didn't vote for the guy. They voted.
Absolutely, they did not.
They voted for the party, and that makes a big difference.
No.
Yes, it does.
They voted for the
They
work
did not.
that he already did and the work that he will do.
No, I disagree.
That's what they voted for.
I disagree.
It's the economy.
I've had more than a few people tell me since and before that election, I'm not voting for the man, I'm voting for the party. Because the party will get the control of inflation and everything like that. And there was never the word Trump was never mentioned. And I talked to as many people as I usually meet during the week. And that's pretty much what I had people that were in the military was supporting this to no end. And I asked two military guys. I asked one who was a Vietnam veteran, and another that was an Iraqi veteran. Why do you want this guy in office so bad? We're not voting for him. We're voting for the party. You can say that's wrong or whatever, but that's what I heard.
Okay, so basically they were saying they voted for what the party stands for, which is less government, which kind of goes back to Roe v. Wade, less government, and more, states' rights and different things like that. I mean, it's the prices of things went down. Things are more, and I know I saw a lot of Democrats going. Look, the gas prices have gone down. This has gone down. This has gone down.
There's no control.
Whatever. Guess what? It's election time. The gas prices go down every time before an election. I don't give a fuck who's running or who has anything to do with it. The gas prices are going to go down before election. They always do. So don't give me that excuse. It's just another way to make the incumbent look good. I don't care, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
They all do it.
It's happened since the
But
1960s.
if you look at the whole scope,
I think a lot of people are thinking that the prices are going to drop to back the way it was 4 years ago, the day that Trump gets in office. And I got news for you. It ain't going to happen.
No. Because we've already taught these companies that we're willing to pay those prices. So they're going to keep charging them.
And
I mean, you and I both know. Now, I do. Do I think it's going to alleviate? Absolutely. Because I think we're going to set up a situation where we get some competition going and you're going to have no choice but to lower your prices in order to compete with the guy next door or whatnot. But that's just my simple guess. I can't totally speak on it, but I think that's what will probably happen. I think I will see your gas prices lower and, different things like that. But
if the gas prices go
I think
lower,
at the end of the day, you're going to be, you may not like Trump.
I don't.
And obviously
he's not my
you
president.
do not. But your sense of living and your sense of taking care of your business at home, I think is going to become easier and simpler with Donald in office. And I think he's proven himself before showing you that he can do that, which he did. And it's a matter of getting over it and reaping the profits. You know, and then we'll get into this later when we're talking about the friends and family issues. But it's, the Democratic Party keeps preaching that we're the party of unity, and we want to unify everybody. And with everything we're going to talk about later, where is there any unification in that? There isn't any. There isn't any.
I agree.
I mean, Donald Trump won. He won by a landslide. He proved the first time that he could make things better, but yet we throw lawsuits, we throw this, we throw everything we have at that guy to make sure
he didn't throw any of it. He didn't throw anything back.
And all of a sudden, he becomes
preach about losing an election. The votes and all horseshit.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'm so glad that I'm going to tell you what.
Grandpa Saul tells me that there was something nefarious going on.
I'm going to tell you what. I am so glad that bullshit's over and he can't claim any of it anymore. That was a worse thing for this country than anything. And he sat there and whined and complained for 4 years, and now it's all over with. And he won by a landslide. Who's to say that this flipping vote wasn't fixed?
Oh,
who's to say that?
The same people that said that the other one wasn't fixed.
Well,
the American people spoke. You don't hear too many people talking shit right now, do you?
The American people spoke.
You don't hear too many people talking shit right now. Too big to rig. That's what it was called. That's what it's been said from the beginning. Too big to rig.
Yeah. Well, all of a sudden it was rigged. As of 15 minutes before that election was over, it was, they rigged it. They rigged. And now all of a sudden, all of a sudden, this one of these same people is telling me, it was too big to rig. Bullshit.
Answer me this question.
It's all flipping.
And I've been trying to figure this out.
It.
Did you watch any election coverage the night of the election?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at least on the channel that I was watching. We got Pennsylvania. That went on for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
I had finally went to bed about 2:00.
And then, they waited like a whole long time before they called Pennsylvania. But yeah, we'll go over and we'll go to Pennsylvania. It seemed like you watched when the polls closed. It was like 15, 20 minutes after the polls closed. They called California. And I'm like, how many votes did you count? 27? I mean, really? No, not that California was probably not going to go Democratic because they always do, as we always know. But I mean, it was like 15 minutes in, bam, California. We're going to give her those points. And then Pennsylvania takes like 14 hours. I mean, really?
I don't know. That was probably one of the roughest elections that I've ever watched. And I hope for God's sakes it never happens again.
No, 2020 was the worst I ever watched. That was
this one was the worst for me.
Don't put that behind me.
I just never want to see that happen to this country again. I just never want to see anybody that sits there and whines for 3 or 4 fucking years.
All right.
I'm just done with all of it.
Answer me some questions. Did you have more money when Trump was in office? Was it easier for you to buy
No,
groceries
because I've gotten raises
when
for
Trump was in
with
office?
Social Security. I've gotten raises and that.
Did you
So
feel
the answer is no.
better when Trump was in office?
Did I feel better? No. I didn't like Donald
Why
Trump the
not?
first.
Why not? Why
I
didn't
didn't
you
like him
feel
the
better?
first time. I thought he was a loud
Okay,
mouth.
that's my point. That's my point. But financially and whatever, you were better off
No, I wasn't.
during that time
I disagree.
than you were during the last 4 years, right?
I had enough money to retire in the last 4 years. Wouldn't have been able to do that under Trump because I wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Now what?
I would not have
Well,
been
you
able
did
to.
it under Trump.
No, I didn't. I retired 2 years ago. 2021 was when I retired. And I wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise.
That's 3 years ago.
Well, there you go. And I've also, like I said, I've gotten Social Security raises and stuff like that. So it ain't. I guess it's not been as bad on me as it's been on other people. That's the way it goes. As far I want to see what happens with if they start attacking Social Security like they're talking about doing, and this really isn't. I think it's Republican propaganda or somebody out to make it that way. But they're talking about cuts in Social Security and all that. And if they start attacking my Social Security, I'll be marching just like the rest of them. Because, when you look at Social Security and people like me that my work life is over with. I put 30 and actually close to 45 years of Social Security money into that system. And I've taken 15 years of it out so far. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is not a benefit. This is not something that they can take away from me. I've earned that money. I put it in there, and by God, I want it back. And if they're going to sit there and try to take and short me and whatever, I'll be marching with the rest of them. It's hard to live on the money that you make off of that. Ask anybody that's on it. But you do it. I've had several ways out here. A couple of months ago, I took all my debt and folded it into the equity of my house. So that's making it a little easier to live. But, I'm being proactive there. I'm going to have to do that. I can't afford a bunch of bills anymore. But anyway, let's take and close the election. You want to make any more statements about it before we close?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
And I hope you didn't get mad at me, but you stated that you've been on Social Security for a couple of years, correct?
Yeah.
And then you stated that
I've been on
you
Social.
retired 15 years ago.
That's true.
Okay.
I was 54 when I retired.
Can't claim Social Security.
And I didn't claim Social Security then. I didn't claim it till I was 62. They wouldn't.
I follow you. Okay. I just wanted to.
They wouldn't let me.
The
auto
an
workers.
understanding there.
The auto workers, when they closed the plants down, part of the contract said that anybody that was within 5 years of retirement age could go out on a stipend, and that's what they gave me every month from the time I was 54 till the time I was 62.
Okay.
And at 62,
all right.
the Social Security kicked in.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Now I get
Okay.
I get a partial pension, I get my pension, and I get Social Security.
Okay.
And I don't make bad living at it. It's about 40 grand a year. Nothing to sneeze at. That's what keeps me living here. Anyway, do you want to make anything else? Any other statements?
No, I'm good. That was just something. The way you were speaking that made me go, huh? Those numbers don't add up. That's why I asked you. So
that's why.
We can move on from there.
All right. What else? Let's cover that goats thing. G-A-J, G-E-G, G-I-G, G. Goats. Let's see. G-O-A-T-Z. Oh, no, wait. That's not how it's spelled.
It's Gates.
G-A-E-T.
I keep trying to tell you. It's Gates.
G-A-J, G-E-G. G-I-G, G-O-J, G-I-J.
You're a crackhead.
G-I-J. Justine, do you know where that came from? You'd know
No.
before your husband did.
I have no idea.
That was an old Three Stooges song.
He heard your giggle and knew you was in the
Oh, I
room.
knew that. She's been there the whole time.
No, actually, no.
Well, most of it, anyway.
She hasn't.
I just came upstairs.
About 5 minutes ago.
Anyway, let's cover the Gates thing. Or Gates. There's been a couple of... Donald Trump has decided to make this guy... What is it?
Secretary of State.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's why everybody's like raising hell. Because that makes you number 3 in line.
Let me look that up quick.
Okay. Check that one out. I'm pretty sure it's Secretary of State.
Well, Trump administration will have unprecedented cooperation, blah, 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 blah. He dropped out of the House. Attorney General, that was it. They wanted to make this guy the Attorney General.
Oh, okay. Okay, the AG.
So the subject between Dale and I came up when we were doing a pre-show about how good or bad this guy could be. And he's had two sexual allegations made against him that supposedly happened in 2017, and they're still trying to prosecute him over it. I found a clip of actually what he did, and that they're. I think I got this clip off of ABC or one of the news channels. Let me go ahead and play this clip. I want you to see what we're up against here. So, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and play this. It is your show.
Move along.
All right, we'll be back in a couple minutes. This is the Art of Argument, and we'll be right back.
To have sex.
That's correct. The House was very clear about.
Both of your clients testified that they were paid by Representative Gates to have sex.
That's correct. The House was very clear about that and went through each. They essentially put the Venmo payments on the screen and asked about them, and my clients repeatedly testified, what was this payment for? Well, that was for sex.
So you're gonna sit there?
I can handle whatever you can throw at me.
You're gonna sit there and deny that?
Well, first you're throwing a video up that you can't even read the shit when you're reading it. But at the end of the day, now he's a Republican, right?
I think so.
Correct. I'm pretty sure he's a Republican.
So you're going to use a Republican card.
And the Democratic Party.
You're going to use a Republican card.
And everybody decided, you know what?
This is where you're screwed.
We're not going to put any charges against him. Why? He was never charged.
Because the case hasn't been worked out yet.
Just because.
The flipping ethics.
You know what? I think you're a butthole. But is that going to keep you out of office? You know, I mean, come on. It went through all the government bullshit, and they decided there was no wrongdoing, and he was not.
Wait a minute. Wait just a minute.
And now, because he's been nominated,
I call bullshit.
A position.
I call bullshit.
You know, shit.
Bullshit.
We're gonna try to hash up some old shit.
Bullshit.
What do you mean bullshit?
You said that case isn't anywhere close to being over. The House Ethics Committee had the report.
You can take the House Ethics Committee and kiss my ass.
Well, all you want to do is elect a bunch of
they're about as ethical.
A bunch of lawless asshole people. And the next thing you know, there ain't going to be a constitution or anything else. This is bullshit. The man's not good. If you had a forehead if you had a forehead, he's not any good. He's fucking been convicted 34 times in a court, convicted by his peers. Bullshit.
For some shit that was past the statute.
Oh yeah, past
and that no other government
and he sat there on January 6th eating dinner while the fucking
come on,
Capitol.
Let's call us
damn near burned.
If we're gonna pick on Trump for that, let's go back in the Democratic Party and the rest of the Republican Party, and let's bring all of them up on charges. I mean, when you
let's bring them all up on charges, including your buddy Trump.
8 fucking years trying to destroy a man's life. Do you realize that Donald J. Trump is the only president?
He's your Lord and Savior too.
That was the president of the United States and walked out of the office with less money than he walked into the office.
Oh, that poor guy. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's not my point.
I'm sorry.
That's not my point.
I misread him.
He was there.
He's a fucking criminal.
Because he cared about the American fucking people.
Yeah, whatever.
And you guys don't care about the fucking American people. All you care about is the woke motherfuckers. You care about, I want my child to be a man, even though she's a girl at age 3, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to let them do this kind of bullshit. And I mean, come on. And I want to go into prison. And oh, you're in prison now? Okay, we're gonna give you a transition surgery to put a pecker on you. and make you a man now, or take a pecker off of you and make you a woman now, and we're gonna do that in the prisons. Really?
Can I be transformed to a woman's prison?
Come on, let's be realistic. For
certainly not on this show. We ain't gonna be realistic. Besides, that's a good radio. It used to be a good radio.
I mean,
I had a realistic radio.
The crazy bullshit going on. I mean, come on. You can't tell me that you don't agree with me, at least on a little bit of this. You can't tell me that
as far as Gates is concerned, or whatever the hell his name is, he's bad. I'm sorry. Anybody that he just seems lawless, which is what this country's headed to.
You really,
Yeah, really.
you have been so fucking brainwashed.
And you have
So
too.
brainwashed.
You have too.
Huh?
You have too.
No, I'm not.
There you are.
No, I'm not.
You don't realize it, but you are.
No, I'm
If
not.
I'm brainwashed, you are.
Hey, guess what?
You're brainwashed. That's
You've
what.
probably heard this be before. God is my co-pilot. And I know, hey, we ain't supposed to bring religion in all this shit. But guess what? God is my co-pilot. Okay?
You need to talk to him.
And if you look at if you look at doctrine and religious things,
all right,
you would probably follow the Republican Party a little bit more.
Yeah, whatever. No.
I know. You never will.
I'd have a better chance of following. You'd have a better chance of me following the Steelers than it would ever becoming a Republican.
You're a union man.
And proud of it.
The unions are just like crumbling right in front of your face.
Yeah, whatever. Union's been around longer than both of us. And if it wasn't for us, or if it wasn't for unions, there would be no middle class. And you can take.
Well, there is no middle class.
You can take that.
You didn't notice that? You didn't notice that?
I'm in middle class.
Oh, really? You call yourself in the middle class?
Yep. I'm in the middle, and I got class.
Okay. All right.
Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Move it, man. Move along, my man.
Let's talk about the idea of now that the election's over with, why can't everybody get along? And let me start this one off, all right? This is what actually started this whole story that Dale's going to tell you about in a minute. I am an amateur radio operator, and so is Dale. Just so that there is some comparison there. I'm a lot better of an operator than he is. At least I know how to key my radio. Anyway, well, I digress. And you know I'm just screwing with you. Anyway, I'm an amateur radio operator, and there's a frequency that I usually they don't call it standby. I usually listen to and talk on here and there, and it's and if anybody wants to look it up, it's 224.060. It's a repeater. It's interesting listening. Well, long before I came along, there was a bunch of Republicans that hang out up there. And I had a couple of friends that are Republicans, believe it or not. And they took before I came along, they'd get up there every night and then, just BS back and forth. Well, all of a sudden the election starts. And I'm going to tell you, if there was any mistake of anybody on that frequency being a Republican, there was no mistake in it. These guys are hardcore Republicans. They hated Biden. When it turned over to Kamala Harris, they hated her. They called her cackling Kamala. Some of the same phrases that you use, Dale. And Biden was a dunderhead and this and that and the other, and he's responsible for the economy, and he's responsible for this and that and the other. Well, I felt kind of outnumbered, so most of the time I wouldn't talk up there. Well, I'm talking to one guy several months ago. This would have been like mid-August. And he says, why don't you come in and join us more? I said, because I'm outnumbered. Well, why is that? because I said, number one, I'm more of a middle of the roaders leaning Democrat than I am anything else. And I said, on top of that, I get tired of listening to the politics. Now, amateur radio is not the place for politics. I'm sorry. I would hope there's no real rules against it. But, so some of this stuff just gets so old. And all the ideas you hear about this stuff, and even on some of the long distance bands, you get these guys that get in there every night. Oh, it's terrible. It's miserable. It's horrible. And, oh, it's all because of the Democrats. Well, I got to the point where I won't say much. Well, now the election's over with. It's been over with for what, it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. And all I'm still hearing when I go up there is, oh, the Democrats, oh, the Democrats, oh, we got people in there, but oh, the Democrats. Well, I'm going to state something, and Dale, you're probably not going to like this, but as the way I feel about this election is what I would probably say up there. You guys had your right to vote. It all got voted on. You got what you wanted, and I hope you enjoy what's there. Because I doubt that it's going to be as good as what you're thinking it's going to be. And, the whole thing comes down to, I was talking the other night, 2 or 3 nights ago, and I'm talking and I was referred to. Now, mind you, after I told that guy I want to digress here a second. After I told that guy that I was a middle of the road leaning Democrat, they started shunning me a little bit. I'd come onto the frequency, and all of a sudden the political topics would stop. And now I go in there, and it's still the same thing. I think it's probably because I said I didn't want to listen to it, which is my right, but what right do I have of saying what goes on that frequency when I was one of the last ones to join over there? And it's still to 2 weeks later, it's kind of tough for me to talk. It's kind of tough for me to listen over there, which I do still every once in a while. But it's tough for me to talk. And it's because these guys are, they're all still, gung-ho Trump and gung-ho this and gung-ho, and we're going to keep our guns. And, well, their guns was never an issue to begin with. And when do we start being diverse again? Will it ever get diverse, Dale? What do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously the world is diverse. Okay. And if you look at, like I was telling you about how ABC was showing things, obviously people of diverse communities were voting for Trump. Now, depends on which diverse community you're talking about. Now, you're getting on the radio, and you got into the unfortunate spot where you got into a lot of Republicans that were speaking what they felt, and they probably would have likely accepted your views if you had viewed them, and probably
they would have quit talking
probably
to me.
Would have said negative against it, which probably would have ticked you off and made you not want to talk on there because you would have got butthurt. But that's what we keep
instead of butthurt.
I've noticed that we have this thing of free speech, and especially from a Democratic side, and you may take this, but just look at it. I mean, a free speech is free speech up until you disagree with me. And then you're not allowed to speak your opinion because you're wrong. You're a racist. You're this. You're that. You're something else. And you know what? That's not fair. I mean, you shouldn't. You should be allowed to speak your mind, and they should be able to give their opinions back to you. But they shouldn't be a bunch of racists because they disagreed with you. You went into a forum of people that believed a certain way, and you're the odd man out, and you're expecting to be accepted like you're one of them. Sure, you can be accepted like you're one of them. That does not mean you're going to eat crow. And that goes back to our last episode of the show that we had when we said one of us at the end of the show was going to have to eat crow eventually. I'm sorry, a Republican won because most of the people in the country felt that he was the right man for the job. And whether you believe in that or not,
Yeah, we'll see in 3.
you're running across.
We'll see
other
what we're
people.
talking about in 3
So
years.
what you need to do is turn down the dial and then find yourself a little Democratic channel that you can talk on, and then you can spout whatever you want to say, and they'll be like, "Yeah."
All right,
yeah,
let's
And move
interject you
along.
into
I
this
mean,
a little
you know,
bit. Let's interject you in that
It's,
party.
it's open airwaves, is it not?
Let's interject you and that party into this, because it's basically
Okay.
the same thing.
Absolutely. Well, no, it's kind of
In a loose kind of way.
okay.
It's
We're kind of even on that. Yes. Okay. So we were invited to a party. It was a Friendsgiving. And everybody was getting together and bringing some food and blah 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 blah. Now, in the process, the election happened. I think Friendsgiving was probably set up a little bit too close to the election than it should have been, because we have one person that is very, 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 I mean, we're so liberal, we're about to fall off the fucking cliff. I mean, that's how liberal we are. And then we have another individual that is very liberal who was hosting the party. And we have her husband and then family members of theirs that generally show up, which I would assume would be left-leaning. But during conversation, my wife was told that she had no problem befriending someone because of their political views. Now, here we are in a party, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to be said and how things are going to go. You know, because, you know, you're at a party, people make comments, and especially if you're that close after an election, you're expecting somebody to say something. I could play stupid for a little while, but as you and I have tight ass on this show many, many times, you know, I ain't going to keep my mouth shut for too fucking long before I'm going to say, hey, wait a minute, this is what I believe, blah, 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 blah. So I'm not wanting Justine to lose friends because I had opinion different than what theirs were. Now, Justine is somebody that can play along to get along. Okay, she can do that. So if she went there and people started blah, 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 she could just ignore it. Me, I can ignore it for so long. But listen, you've seen the conversations we had. I ain't going to shut my mouth for that long. If there's something that I find that wrong, I'm going to open my mouth and I'm going to speak on it. Well, I don't want the young lady to lose friends. Okay, I don't want her to lose friends because of my political opinion. So I didn't go. So I got excluded from the event simply because of my political views.
And that's similar to what I.
Whether it be indirectly or directly, I couldn't go because of in fear of what could happen. And like I said, no, my wife pretty much doesn't have the same exact views that I do, but she has some similar views that I do. But I can't put myself in a position. Like I said, she could play stupid and
She shouldn't have to
not
play
get
stupid.
in trouble with her friends. Whereas, as you
know
know me,
you
I'm
and I,
gonna open my damn mouth.
on opposite ends, you and I are in the same situation, though. If you think about it, I can't talk to my friends because of my political views, and you can't talk to yours because of your political views.
No.
I'm not saying I can talk to, have a casual conversation with somebody, but as far as if politics comes up, you and I can't. We're locked in a room, especially in the situation you were in with that party. You were locked in a room. You didn't have no way out. You couldn't. If you would have went and it blew up, what would that have got you? Nowhere. I'm in the same situation. If I spout my political views off and say Trump's an asshole and he deserves to not be elected, I wouldn't have any friends. Same thing. Think about it.
Well, no, it's not the same thing.
So how do we make this more diverse?
I will speak out. And if my friend does not want to be, I did what I did to save friendships.
And that's what I'm doing.
For my wife. I don't give a rat's patoot if any of those ladies like me. I could care less. It doesn't. Those are her friends.
You don't want to use any friends.
And I mean, I'm friends with the husbands or whatnot, and they may have different political views or whatever. It doesn't matter. But I did not want to put my wife in an awkward position there because she knows me well enough that if the conversation goes in a certain direction, I'm going to open my mouth. And I did not want to hurt her friendship with those individuals. Me, I could give a rat's ass. My views are my views. I tell you my views every day. I go to work, I tell my views. Okay, I go here, I tell my views. I don't hide behind my views at all. But I was trying to respect my wife and make sure that she didn't lose a friend.
Situations are similar
because of my opinion.
The situations are similar. I don't want to lose any friends, and I would if I started spouting off about what I believed as far as the truth. And
I didn't lose any friends.
It's like we've talked about before. Why this particular network doesn't carry political stuff except for this show. I don't want to lose any viewers. I don't want to lose any friends that log in all the time and talk and all that kind of stuff, or text me with stuff as we're doing a show. I don't want to lose any of that, but I've lost it. There's a couple of people that have disappeared especially since we started doing this show, that know that what my political views are, and they don't agree with them, and I don't hear from them.
Well, that's
I don't. You should not lose friends over political views.
No,
This
no,
shit's
you
going to
should.
be over in 4 years, and in 4 years you're going to be electing another one, and hopefully it won't be as hotly contested as this one was, and wear everybody
Well, it
out,
wasn't hotly contested.
and wear everybody
I
out.
guess
Well, it was at
was,
the end.
but
Was at the
that
end.
was
but-
another thing I wanted to get into. You know, it's the same thing that happened in 2016. You look at the polls. The polls tell you, oh, it's even, it's this. Oh, Kamala Harris is ahead of him by this many points. Kamala Harris by this
I
many
never
points.
believe any
Blah
polls.
blah 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 blah. And you get all that, and it makes you wonder if they're not skewed to point in a certain direction in order to make, like, say, a Republican go, well, there's no need for me to vote because, you know, it's
Well,
here.
yeah, they
it's
do
there,
that.
da 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 da, and trying to get people not to vote.
You know they
But
do that.
you see, Trump preached from the beginning, too big to rig.
It was too big to rig
And
the
all of a
first time
sudden,
too.
You saw a lot more people coming out to vote.
It was too big to
I
rig the
mean-
first time too.
Huh?
It was too big to rig the first time too. So why did we have to listen to his whining for 4 years?
Oh no, but bullshit. If you look at, I looked at
If it's too big to
a,
rig one time, it's too big to rig all of them.
I looked at a thing, a chart that showed that the Democratic vote was almost level in the last 4 elections, except for 2020, and then all of a sudden it just skyrocketed, or out of nowhere, it just. I mean, come on. I mean, math shows you that probably should not have happened.
The math.
So
The math
now,
shows
mind you,
me
it
that
is
this
what it is,
Republican can,
and we
this
have 4
Republican
years.
thing could have been rigged too.
We have 4 years of what we've been dealing with, and then of course we've elected the new president, and he won't come into office until January. But you see the problems and the difficulties you've had, I hope, in your own home. I mean, come on, is your dollar going as far as it used to? Absolutely not.
Do you
You know,
actually
and
think
like I said, everybody
you
wants to
actually
preach
think that
about
that's going to
all this
change?
stupid shit.
You think that's going to change? You're out of your mind.
You know what?
gonna
It's
be-
like, okay,
it's going to be the
let's
same
take,
way as
let's
it
take
was
it this way.
for the last 4
Okay,
years.
if you're, and I know you are,
Inflation runs itself. It does.
and I know you, you are a very large advocate of abortion. Okay?
I wouldn't say that.
Okay, wouldn't call you one, but you're an advocate of abortion.
No,
Okay.
I didn't. I've never said that. I'm
Wait,
an advocate. I'm
I
an
go back
advocate.
to another
No,
subject.
just stop. I'm an
Okay, go ahead.
advocate for women's rights. Women have the right to do what they want to their own body without any government
Which
intervention.
we're talking about abortion.
Without any government intervention. If they want to go get a pill, they can go get a pill. If they want to
What'd you
go to a
just say?
doctor,
What did you say? Without any government intervention.
without any government
So
intervention.
your all problem. So your all's problem is the fact
When
that
you got somebody
the
that's
government was
that's-
taken out of the equation.
when you got somebody that's preaching a nationwide abortion thing and taking the rights of women away, I got a problem with that. I'm sorry. You can call me an abortionist or whatever. I don't care.
I'm
But
not
the
calling
way
you
the
anything.
way I look at that is if you take one woman's rights away, you're taking them all away, and that's going to affect their health and everything else. And that's where I've got the issue. When women losing rights what would happen if they lost the right to vote? Because we're gonna put a ban on women now. I'm not saying this.
Really, I mean,
I'm
you're
not saying
stretching.
this is going to happen.
You're stretching.
But it's
You're
basically the
stretching.
same thing. You're taking away
No, it's not.
You're taking away a woman's rights, and that's wrong.
You're taking away a life.
She's got a right to decide what she wants to do with her body.
You're taking
and
a
what comes
life.
out of her temple.
You're taking a life.
Whatever.
You don't feel that child that is growing within a woman's womb is a life. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be. I'm anti-abortion, but I'm okay with limits upon that.
I'm okay with the limits.
There should be limits.
You can't abort. You can't abort a kid after 10 months, like somebody said.
Well, that's
Trump.
what some people are. The Democrats are trying to do.
Oh, bullshit!
And we're talking about
never been that way.
partial, abortions and shit. I mean, I don't think we should be going down that
we
road.
don't want to go down this rabbit hole.
Because that's just.
Because you're liable to hear more from me than you.
I mean.
Than you want to hear.
And you actually talked enough that you made me forget what the hell I was trying to say in the first fucking place. But
that's old age. That ain't nothing to do with me.
But so you've done your job. I mean, come on. This whole abortion thing it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was taken away, and I think you just said that the government should have nothing to do with abortion. And it's like, well, that's what Donald Trump did. And well, actually not him.
He didn't do
but
it. He just sent it back down to the states where it don't belong.
Out of the hands of the federal government and gave it to the states. So you said it shouldn't be in the government's hands. Well, he took it from what he did. He took it out of the government's hands and he gave it to the states. He didn't
take it out of the government's hands. He put it in another part of the government. Don't give me that crap.
But that's right.
Bullshit.
He said it's not my business.
It's not. It was none of his business. After 55 fucking years, it's none of his business what they did to that. Roe versus Wade was 55 or something like that years old.
And people that were back there then say it never should have been
bullshit.
Put in there.
It should have been put in there and should have been left alone. That was 55 years old. They didn't need to revisit that.
We've talked about this before.
Let's go back go back to 1776 and revoke the whole damn let's revoke the whole damn Constitution, which is where we're headed anyway. Let's go back to 1776 and let's go take and redo everything the founding fathers said. It's the same damn thing.
The founding fathers never ever said anything about abortion. That's some bullshit that was added in later. Okay, the founding fathers.
You're taking me out of context.
And I'm pretty sure
now.
the founding fathers.
Now you're taking me out of context.
That if you get pregnant, you're going to have a child. So I'm giving you extra credit in saying, hey,
you're taking me out of context.
Under these circumstances,
you're taking me out of context.
It's okay.
You're taking me out of context.
What I don't want to see, and what we've discussed before, is abortion to turn into a form of birth control. I don't think that is the right way. We have 171 ways of birth control out on the market if a young lady does not want to get impregnated.
Yeah, and if it was up to Donald Trump, he'd do away with all of them.
Now, to use abortion as a form of birth control, I don't agree with.
He would do away with all of them.
Rape, incest. Okay, now I understand. I understand the road you're going down, and this is the road y'all keep going down. But you're leaving out everything else.
Never been touched. It should have never been touched.
I'm not about a little girl having to have a child at 12 because she got raped by her stepfather or whatever else.
And had to go to Indiana to
I'm
get
very
an abortion.
understanding of that. That shouldn't happen, But when you're just a general human being out there, you have so many forms of birth control for you to be able to use abortion as a form of birth control is just, to me, absolutely sickening. Because that's not.
Well, I don't think that's.
You had a choice of doing this, and on down the line. You had these choices.
I think
and
it's.
You chose
I think
not
it's.
to take those choices.
I think it's wrong. As far as what you said a minute ago about being a form of birth control, that is wrong. But that doesn't mean that it has to be sent to the states. It doesn't mean that there has to be a nationwide ban on it. The one thing that you're talking about, or that you made reference to, was one of the 115,000 ways of birth control, which we ought to cover birth control in a another show. That would be something you and I could argue about pretty well. But
forms of birth control?
I'd need to do some of my research.
What's there to argue about?
If it's wrong, right, whatever.
There's all kinds of forms of birth control.
Well, is birth control taking birth control right or wrong?
You as a Catholic, they probably tell you that no form of birth control is okay.
That's exactly right.
But they'll probably tell you that abortion is not okay either.
Well, there are things that I agree with that.
Or does Catholicism have rules that?
There are things just like with it. I've got my own mind. I can think by myself, and I can make up my own mind about stuff.
Sure, absolutely.
And if I don't agree with a church law, I don't support it. If I do, I do. But there are things in the Catholic religion that I don't agree with. There are things in life that I don't agree with. Hell, I don't agree with you most of the time. That's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
But, when it comes down to it, if in the midst of all this, if they take and go after that day after pill or anything like that, what do you think about that? Should that be on the market? Do we take that off? We're going to do an abortion ban. You might as well take that off the market too.
Well, I'm telling you my personal opinion.
And when they start affecting that, that's really getting.
And I may get in trouble for it. But you're talking your day after. Yeah. I would leave it on the market because
Trump don't want it.
9 chances out of 10.
Your candidate don't want it there.
That pill, there hasn't been conception actually happened yet.
Your president doesn't.
So
want it
therefore, you're kind of like just making sure.
You're wishy-washy on me,
Dale. Goes down. No, I'm not wishy-washy. If you want me to get down and dirty, I can sit here and listen. We both know I am flat out against abortion. That is my religious beliefs, and it has nothing to do with my religion. It is my life beliefs, and there is a reason for it. I can
understand that,
and you understand the reason for it, and that is the way I feel.
You're misconceived.
But I also understand there are accentuating circumstances that there are needs for this situation. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it may go directly against what I said, but I'd rather be 3/4 there than and allow something bad not to happen to an individual than to be all the way there and tell the individual they have to go fuck themselves. Okay. So yes, if you want to call me wishy-washy, you can. You know,
Well,
we
I
got
don't.
rape, we got incest, we got things like that. I'm very understanding of that. But these women that are just rolling out and just bam, 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 bam,
And I
bam,
think that's
and
wrong
then
myself
just
too.
taking an abortion like that's a form of birth control, I do not agree with that. I do not. I do not agree with that. And I will stick to that as, as many times as you bring it up. I will stick to that fact.
And believe it or not, I partially agree with you. I don't think that should be an option for if you're having so many kids that you gotta have an abortion every time you let somebody into you. Then you need that's another story. That needs to be stopped, and you need to be put on a different pill or something. But the big thing with abortion that bothers me, and you can call me a whatever you want as far as the abortion rights go. I'm not after. This is just another one of those things where I think the woman's got a right to choose. You're a 19. Put yourself in this place. You're a 19-year-old woman. You're probably. I don't mean to sound racist or anything. You're probably brown or black, and your living conditions are terrible. You're living in a. You're probably a crackhead. Well, nowadays you would be. Back in my day, you would take when like this wasn't accepted.
He did this last week.
When stuff like that wasn't accepted, you were living on Skid Row more or less. And you see no way that's gonna change for you in the next 10 or 15 years. You've committed yourself to that. Okay, John John Holmes comes along and says, let's go knock out some kids. All right, we knock out. Your situation has not changed. You're still on Skid Row, and you're still in a very terrible situation where you wouldn't want to bring a kid into this world. And that's where I don't think that there should be that much of a limitation on that stuff. I and that's where I say the mother should have the right to decide what goes on her own body and what comes out of it. That's the whole thing I'm trying to get at. And yeah, you're sitting there saying I'm pro-abortion. Well, I am to a point. I guess I am. If it's a situation like that, if it's not, if the kid's already just about ready to pop out, and you decide you don't want it, that's wrong. To me, that's completely wrong. To me, you should have the kid, just put it up for adoption. But in the early part of that, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with these pills that bring on the defertilization, I guess you could call it. I don't see anything wrong with that. My church, well, that would be a different story with them. And like I said, this is where I disagree with them. If the situation warrants it, and you're in a terrible situation, or even, and you cannot see your way out of it, why bring a kid into that? Understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, but no. I would say so. You are what we would call a pro-choice advocate.
Exactly.
Are you not?
I would say
Okay,
pro-choice.
you're a pro-choice advocate. Now, as a woman, man, anything in between, you have a choice, right? So we're talking about 900 billion. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but a whole lot of choices of birth control. You have a choice. Now, if you're in that situation where you're in that kind of life or these other kind of lives in which you were describing, you have a choice. You have a choice to use these options to prevent
you're a
from
19-year-old
getting pregnant.
You're a 19-year-old girl. You're a 19-year-old girl. You got no responsibility. You just
But you have
you don't
the
you can't think
choices.
about taking pills. You're too damn
Where,
busy.
where's you keep talking pro-choice, but where are all the other choices taken out of the equation? Why are these other choices
All I'm
taken out of
saying
the
is if
equation?
you were in that
don't want to
situation
get pregnant
and you got
you have
pregnant,
101 ways to make sure that you don't get pregnant. And then we have Planned Parenthood, which was set up to
oh no,
try to bring the African
Republicans will
American
do away with that
population
before it's over.
down. That was why the whole thing was created.
That was one of the
was
things
a bad thing
that
that shouldn't have happened.
that was one of
But
the things in
you
the
can
last
go there,
Trump
and they'll give you
administration
the shit
they
for
tried to
damn
do
near
away
free.
with.
They'll give it to you for free.
Planned Parenthood in the last Trump administration was done. He tried to do away with that. He tried to do away with Planned Parenthood. I remember when he did it. Said it was worthless. Well, it might have been worthless for him.
It is. At the end of the day, it's worthless because you got nobody is utilizing it. I'm telling you, if I'm the young lady in a horrible home, I have 101 ways to prevent myself.
You got to be able to afford it too.
Pregnant, and I'm not utilizing them. I mean, let's go back to as simple as a fucking condom. Okay, a condom. A condom.
John Holmes
Just a
don't
little
want to wear
wrap
those.
on your willy, and
John
we're gonna
Holmes
handle
don't want. John
our
Holmes
business.
don't want to wear
And
those.
guess what? The young lady doesn't get pregnant.
John Holmes don't want to
Okay.
wear those. He tells you no.
I mean,
I got to
yeah,
have
you're
you.
talking about Johnny Holmes and all that shit. But come on, the methods are there.
I hear you, Justine.
For you to prevent this stuff. And if you were doing things to prevent these things, you would not be getting pregnant. Now, mind you, I guess, you know, I could talk to my wife and ask her what the difference between a condom and no condom is when you're taking care of business, and if it's that much different or whatever. But you know what?
It is for the guy.
Was handling their business with her, and they had a condom on,
It
and
is
it
for
worked
the guy.
properly. At least she knew she wouldn't get pregnant. I mean,
It is for the guy.
you know, and hell yeah,
Do you wear a condom?
you're helping the
Have
woman.
you ever wore a condom?
Yeah, absolutely, many times. Many times.
I hated them. That's why
Well, of course,
That's why I've got 3 kids.
well, once I got a taste of no condom.
Oops.
Yeah, I
shit, not
prefer
again.
it, but I was married by then. So I mean, I don't know.
All right. Well, we've just about exhausted everything. Holy crap, we've been on this an hour and 25 minutes. Imagine that.
Oh shit.
That was a good show. It's pretty cool when they go along that fast. What is 2 weeks from today? Do you know?
December 2nd.
Okay, we'll be all right.
Justine said.
We'll be, as a lot of you may know, Radioactive from last night. That show's going on hiatus. I'm thinking probably Eric's is. This is probably going to be about one of the 2 shows that we do in the next couple of weeks. Radioactive will be back December 2nd. I've got some revamping I want to take care of, and it's going to take me a little time.
Justine said December 1st.
Yeah, that'll be back December 1st. This show will be back the 2nd. And we're probably going to keep on with the Four Guys on Sports show. But it's been fun, Dale. It was nice
It's always
arguing.
fun.
Nice arguing with you.
Oh, you know I enjoy it. Every moment of it.
Yeah, me too. And do something here.
You ain't got to lie. You don't have to lie. So you hate it or fuck a minute of it.
If that was the case, I'm looking for something. You would have heard.
Fuck off!
Well, I'm surprised I didn't hear that earlier. Shit.
Yeah, I was tempted a couple of times, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, yeah, you need to keep that on chill. You need to keep that over there every time we have the show. So,
Well,
when I say something, you'd be like, fuck off!
at least we got the election over with. Now there's nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing coming but the proof in the pudding, and we will just go ahead and close.
I can't see even watching NIR. Things are winding down, and you're not hearing like couch today. I went to take a bath and shit. It was about 2:00 or whatnot, but they were talking about the Blues Brothers and movies and bullshit because nobody was talking politics. So it seems like it's starting to calm down.
Everybody's tired.
Absolutely.
You can't tell me that after that Wednesday after the election, you weren't tired as hell. I know I was.
Oh, absolutely.
And I thought if I heard the word politics one more time, I was going to puke.
I was up all night until I saw that Trump won Pennsylvania is when I finally went to bed because I knew at that point it was a done deal. Now, what I will tell you is I have noticed that somebody went through, and do you realize all the states that Kamala Harris actually won were the states where IDs are not required. Now, if you don't catch something in there a little bit, I mean,
we're not going to.
Take it for
we're
what.
not going to start election
worth.
conspiracy.
I mean, because it doesn't matter. The election results are already in, but this
and they were crooked as hell.
I saw. This is what I saw.
They were rigged.
All the states she won.
It was all rigged.
Were places where illegal voters
Trump
could
rigged
vote.
it all. It's all his fault.
So, whatever. It is what it is, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because results are in, and you and I are both going to have to live with whatever comes from these election results.
You just better enjoy it.
And maybe I'll come back and eat crow. Who knows?
Maybe
I will. I mean, I'm man enough to do that. But so far, we don't have to worry about it.
Did Justine just get done?
January, 20th.
Huh?
Did Justine just get done eating crow? She burped.
Oh, damn. Man, that girl's been eating crow.
How's that crow over there, Justine?
She likes crow.
I like feathers.
Yeah, she likes feathers. She likes crow.
They tickle on the way down. We won't go into that.
Oh, damn.
Say goodnight, Dale.
Say goodnight. We'll catch everybody in 2 weeks. Y'all have a blessed week. And what's going to be after Thanksgiving before we come back? Wow, that's coming quick. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you all in 2 weeks, and have a wonderful week.
God bless America.
And all the ships at sea.